Welcome back, episode 37 of the Union 0430. You may recognize that beautiful man down in my bottom right-hand corner as Mr. Ian McCleary, half of the Real Outdoor Experience. We'll get to Ian in a second. Quick round the table. I'm on fire tonight because Ian just told me I got to shut up and get this show going. So, because he doesn't have a whole lot of time to be running over the hour. So we're going to get right to it. Mark is just outside the nation's capital. Philly is up in the dirty schwa, and Dave, as usual, up in Kincardine. Ian, where are you?
I'm in New York right now. Yeah, I'm in New York, and it's and you know what? Frankly, happy to be here. I had planned to spend a lot more time in Ontario over Christmas, but coming into Christmas, obviously the stages of COVID and everything that was happening, and my family was starting to, get uncomfortable about larger gatherings. And Christmas with my family is a big deal. Like Christmas dinner is nothing to have 25, 26 people, sitting around a table. Lucky. And, my parents said no. My sister said no. Everybody was just sort of hunkering down. So I went, you know what? I'm not spending it in London by myself. So I hopped on a plane and came down to Jen's place in Albany, and have been here ever since. Drives me nuts a little bit that I've got to get on a plane, 4 different airports and 3 airplanes, when I could leave my place in London and get to Jen's without getting out of my truck. I can make it here on 1 tank of gas. But it's safer for me to go to 4 different airports and get on 3 planes to get here. But yeah, no, I came on Christmas Eve, and everybody's doing well here. It's great to spend time with the kids and spend time with Jen, and missing Ontario. We were supposed to come home this weekend. Jen actually had applied for and received the written permission that Americans need to leave the U.S. And she got it. We were going to come home on Saturday, quarantine in London for 2 weeks, and then kind of visit. She hasn't been Ontario in a year. Wow. But with the raging dumpster fire that is now Ontario, we you know what? Let's just wait and see what happens. And imagine that. Getting out of the States on January 20th seems like a smart idea, right? And it makes more sense to stay here. Thanks, Trudeau. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, it remains to be seen what's going to happen down there after today. But I'm sending nothing but big love and good thoughts to our friends to the south, because you know what, that they are in for a different time from what they've been used to for the last 4 years. That's for sure. And for you and Jen, like, you're going from, one to bizarro world, right? Like the complete opposite. Like leave New York and come to Ontario. Like you can't get no more polar opposite of one another than that, right?
Yep. It's kind of funny because in, April and May, Canadians were pretty quick to point a crooked finger at the Americans and go, look at what you guys are doing. And, and that's, it's been an about face. I could go to the grocery store today. I mean, when people are out doing stuff, and it's, everybody's wearing masks, everybody's being marvelously compliant. Yeah. Small businesses are open. You can go into little boutique stores and buy clothes if you want.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to have beers with my buddies in the driveway, but I can funnel into Costco with all the rest of the mouth breathers and go get my groceries with a couple hundred other strangers, right?
It's unbelievable. Closing ski resorts. You can't ski. I saw on Facebook that people can't ride snowmobiles on the snowmobile trails.
Yeah,
certain areas.
There's certain areas. Yeah, I did breeze over that, and so I really got to be careful on how I word stuff because I don't want it to come across like I'm this just heartless person. But I do see a need for some of the restrictions, and then some more I just got to shake my head at, right? But this whole snowmobile outdoor physical activity bit and this stuff being shut down, I really don't understand it. And with regards to the snowmobile trails, I understood it as though the trails were still open. It was the warming shacks that were being shut down, but I could be wrong. So I don't know. I think it was the warming shacks that were being shut down. They just didn't want people coming in and sitting and brewing up their coffees.
Well,
And,
I don't know about you guys, but when I grew up back home, there was no such thing as a warming shack. You got on the snowmobile and you went till you had almost no gas.
We
Right.
call it home. Yeah.
well, and to just far back at that, Mark, the difference between Newfoundland and let's say Ontario is that where I'm from in Newfoundland, there was no day in winter that we got -30 that some of these snowmobilers are out. Like -30 was unheard of where I come from, and here in Ontario, it's it's normal in the winter time. So not so much in down your way, Ian, but up in the northern parts or the central parts more so. Anyways, listen, this is the fucking Union 0430, and we're supposed to be talking about duck hunting. I know it's a little hard to think about duck hunting right now, Mark and his pussy. But Ian, how was your season, buddy? Did you get out after the duck? I know you do some duck hunting. It's not your main animal or thing to chase, but did you get out at all this past season?
No, you know what? I bought my stamp. But no, I did not fire I did not duck hunt once, or nor goose.
Really, eh?
No, I did spend. I'm a deer hunter at heart, but I obviously do get to enjoy my time in marshes and fields. But because of I spent 56 days in quarantine last year. So every time I came back from I'd come down to New York and spend some time deer hunting at the cabin, spend some time with Jen, and then come back to Ontario, and I have to spend 2 weeks locked down in my condo. And then you get out, and then by the time you take care of some work related stuff, and there just was no time in the cards to do any of that. I only deer hunted in Ontario for maybe five sits.
Wow.
In the entire deer season. So
the last episode we done, I had put the question out to the fellas on here, how much had COVID, the COVID restrictions affected their hunting season. And for really the most of us, other than, so Phil and I, we were supposed to be in Missouri doing a duck hunt in January, but for the most of us, it really didn't affect us that much because we were still able to get out. We weren't traveling outside of Ontario. Maybe I had to cancel some of the Punisher camps and stuff like that, but it really didn't affect us in the amount of time that we got out, but it certainly did you.
Yeah, no, and that's I didn't grouse hunt once. It's again just the price I paid for having to cross the border. And that's
what the heart wants, right?
Yeah, well, and it's we're a few years into it now, so it's not even a conscious choice. It's just this is what we're up against, and this is what you got to do, and what are the things that give. But yeah, there were a few Saturdays in the fall that I woke up in London going, okay, what am I going to watch at Netflix today? Just spitting nails because I had invites to go pheasant hunting and the fall turkey. There's all kinds of great things to do in the woods in Ontario fall, and I spent an unfortunate amount of it
on house arrest.
Exactly, house arrest. That's exactly what it was. And you know what? It's so funny because I'm really, really compliant. I literally spent 56 days locked in my condo in London, and that's I don't know, is afraid of, getting ratted out by a neighbor. I do live in a condo complex that's not, it's not just for old people, but let's face it, there's a lot of older people that live in condos. And those are the people that are going to be calling the snitch lines and stuff like that. So that,
Did you, and in spite of you doing everything like that you're supposed to do, did you catch any flack from people about traveling back and forth?
No. And that nobody has ever give me get some grief from my ex a little bit. You're the one, getting on that plane to bring it back to Ontario. But I know I posted a post about travel and what is essential travel to the government may be very, very different than what's essential to me. But that was more in response to all the flack that some of these politicians and or hospital workers or hospital CEOs. Like, there's an awful lot of people out there today that are getting a lot of grief from people on Facebook, and or rightly or wrongly, everybody's got opinions, and they're all relevant, they're all valid, but Facebook does give a forum for everybody to just spout their vitriol a little bit. And there's just been a couple of exchanges that didn't sit well with me, and I wanted to sort of publicly sort of go out and go, hey, you know what, it's different for everybody, so pay attention.
But in fairness, if you don't post it on social media, did it even really happen?
Very good point, Philly.
Like, for the love of Christ, Ian, you could go and traveled the world 3 times over in the past month. You don't put anything on social media, fuck, no one ever find out.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it makes the conservation officer's job that much more easier when people post their stupid shit.
Oh Christ! like the internet are some people's worst enemy, because they're dumb, and then they do dumb things, and then they post their dumb activities on the interweb, and then it's like, hey, thanks for sinking yourself.
Yeah.
Knock.
But then the what this is the one that I love is they tell on themselves, they get caught, they get charged or ticketed or reprimanded, whatever it is, and then they come back on social media and get upset because the government fucked them over. That's the one that cracks me up. You've told on yourself.
Oh,
but what do you expect? Hey, I did see today, though, that you brought up the conservation officers. I did see. I follow the Conservation Officers Association of Ontario, I think is what the Facebook, and they are recruiting right now, which is fucking. Is that ever good news?
Great.
That's good news.
That's great news.
I wish I had known about that a year ago.
Yeah, but it is. And for anybody that's listening, and if you have a problem with conservation officers, then I would tend to believe that there's probably a reason why you have an issue with conservation officers.
In all fairness,
right? Yeah,
I've been out fishing, hunting, a lot, whatever. That's what us guys do, right?
Yeah.
And I can't tell you one time where I've been like, ah, shit, here comes Mr. Green Jeans. I don't know. It's just me. I've never had a worry.
Well, we've talked about,
I guess following the law, I just find it ridiculously easy to do so.
Yeah. Well, you know why? Because you're allowing the man to keep you down, Phil. That's what it is. You're allowing the man to keep you. No, we've talked about it on this show before, about the time when the COs got me for no life jackets in my boat, and it was a heavy fine I had to pay for that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, did it suck? I think it was $500 I had to pay, something like that. Did it suck that I had to pay $500? Yeah. It would have sucked even more if I would have fucking swamped my boat and Ryan Bro would have drowned because I didn't have a fucking life jacket in it. And that was, $500 I'll pay every day of my life if I never ever got to worry about that. So anyways, but good news. I digress. Good news. Conservation officers are recruiting. So that's only good news.
Hell yeah.
Really,
The only bad time I've had with a conservation officer is last year, opening week, there was this field that birds were just piling into it. We couldn't figure out who had permission there. And we're on a different field that had like not even a quarter of the birds in it. And at the end of our hunt, it was the Friday afternoon, and up shows up the buddy and, you know, checks the plugs and, oh, boys, you should see the hunt I have this weekend, he's telling us. Oh, where's that? Oh, it's just, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, oh, and it's the field you guys.
He had the permission, like
The field down the road.
That is awesome.
So then I was trying to get in. He wouldn't take any of us with him. And,
Oh no, of course not.
just him and his two buddies. It's like, holy fuck, there's
But
enough birds there for 10 guys.
But one of your good buddies, Merc, that you hunt with a fair bit. Well, I don't think you did this year as much, but you had a buddy that was the CO that you hunted with a fair bit. You guys became pretty good friends, and
Yep.
you end up doing a lot of volunteer work together and stuff. So you know what? They're just doing their job. Don't be an
And
idiot.
they're no different than anybody here in this group, or
Yeah,
probably most
absolutely.
people watching.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They're the exact same as us. They have a job to do. Phil has a job to do. I have the job to do. Damien has a job. I don't know what Ian does, and Dave has a job to do.
At the end of the day, we all got to do something to put, you know, food on the table, right?
Yeah.
So why shit down people's throats, you know, for just trying to do their job and make a living?
So,
Bye
so
bye. And like, life
here's
is
my
good.
rebuttal to anybody that got a problem, say, with COs. So this gentleman that that meat eater brought up on their social media this week, the fella, I forget the state that he was in, but they've caught him. He's after poaching 60 deer.
That's what they
So-
caught him for.
That's what they, absolutely. That's what they caught him for, was 60 deer. So if you have an issue with a CO doing their job, then you have an issue with them busting that guy who's been poaching God knows how many deer. That's the way my brain works, right? Like, you can't chastise somebody for doing one thing and then accepting them unless you're a total fucking hypocrite.
You can't suck and blow, I believe is the terminology.
so elegantly put, Phil.
It is funny. Like when you get when Mr. Green Jeans, when he does come up, like, you know, I know I've got my stamps. I know I've got, you know, life jackets, and I haven't gone over any limit. But your heart starts.
Of course.
And he's asking for your paperwork, and you got the tremor going, and you know, and it's it. Are they going to find something wrong? You know, it's the same with, you know, like I turned 50 years old this year. I get if I haven't been pulled over by the OPP in a bunch of years, but you know, when I do, it's exactly the same thing. It's like, oh my God, like, have I got my stickers? What am I doing wrong?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I've been out and I've been stopped by the OPP, Durham, York region, and the COs, regardless, you know, like while being out, you know, fishing, ice fishing, duck hunting, whatever, I've been stopped by the following agencies, and they asked for my stuff. I'm like, here you go, man.
Mhm.
Glad to see you out here doing this. Like, you know, I like me personally, I couldn't be happier. But like, you know, and people have this huge misconception that police officers cannot enforce the Fish and Game Act. Well, you're fucking wrong, because police officers are sworn provincial officers, and the Fish and Game Act is a provincial act that the provincial officers can enforce.
I didn't know that.
Those are those policemen.
I believe it's police fighter now.
Yeah, police person, something gender neutral.
Sensitive asshole.
I'm non-essential.
But that guy, the Arkansas guy that you're talking about,
yeah, in Arkansas. Yeah.
if you read about it, like, he's only banned from hunting for 5 years.
Right.
60
That's lifetime,
deer.
in my opinion. Fucking lifetime.
He's 28 years old, and 60 deer over a few years, 137 counts, and 5 years some prison time, I think. But like, that's kind of, I thought there'd be more for that, but
Yeah, that's bullshit. That should be a lifetime ban.
But it's
And
also
I
only,
agree
it's
with
going to go two ways. Either he's going to turn it around and not do it anymore. Or before the 5 years are up, he's probably going to get busted again. You know?
Yeah, likely.
Not like that's ever happened to people here in Ontario.
No.
But then it's the COs harassing them, right? Like,
Hey, what are you going to
You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, right?
Absolutely. Damned if you do, damned
Well,
if
the COs be harassing me. Well, fuck, stop committing crime and then posting all this shit all over social media.
it's like that guy who's pissed off that his wife found out he was cheating because she was snooping through his phone. Well, fuck. Like,
Who's
Can't
the
believe
one
you
to
know-
Come on
blame
now.
here?
That guy. That guy.
Can't believe she invaded my privacy like
yeah.
that. Funny shit.
Who's the real victim?
What?
I said, who's the real victim?
Yeah, no doubt. No, it all great points, and you know, there's a lot of people that listen to the show, and they're obviously in Ontario, and but we never really touch on the well, sometimes we talk about stories down in the States and stuff, but Western Canada and Eastern Canada, we really don't get a whole lot of information about what's going on. And I know you fuckers down in Eastern Canada are doing some shady shit. So I need to
Grew up there.
yeah, I grew up there, so I know you guys are doing it. So we got to start spending some more time combing through the interweb and get some stories about the fellas down east, because I know there's some shit going on down there. I want to talk about them.
You get on your AOL Canada there and you have a gander.
Is AOL still a thing?
Fuck, I don't think so.
You just dated yourself, Phil.
Oh, buddy. Yeah.
Ian,
Funny. Well, in fairness,
yeah, go.
I wouldn't say I'm the youngest one here, but I'm on like the lower half of the spectrum.
I don't know. Ian, what do you remember anything about AOL? I would normally be the oldest, but
I thought that was it. Isn't that a TV show with Simon Cowell or something like that? I don't know. They call that The Voice now. I don't. Something like that. I don't know. Not that
Ian,
old. Come
what's
on.
coming up? What's coming up for the new year? I see there was an announcement by Mossberg. Some new guns coming out. What's new and exciting coming out from your guys' end?
You know what? It's well, I mean, very personally, and with Carlin and I in the Real Outdoor Experience, we're like everybody else. We got to wait and see what happens with COVID. You know, we don't know where we're going to be able to do things. I don't know if I can get back to Ontario. Why? I know I can always come back to Ontario.
Yeah,
but they're talking about preventing people from leaving Canada. So
I'm sure
they'll
just tax it.
Hey, that's what a flight is, and ultimately that's why I can't drive here.
Yeah,
like, you know, I even said that to a customs guy one day. It's like, well, just charge me $500. You want to stop the people that are coming over for lunch, or wanting to shop in Buffalo for the day or whatever. Charge them $500 to use the bridge. I would pay $500. Save me the flight, save me the aggravation, all that other kind of stuff. But until COVID gets sorted out, I got no idea what's coming. With Mossberg's got a beautiful silver series over and under coming out. I'm not 100% sure if that's going to be available in Canada or not. There's an entirely different set of things that need to be sort of qualified and approved before. Like if you were to go into the OF Mossberg and Sons site, there's a good third of the guns that are on there that you cannot get in Canada.
That is like that with any fucking manufacturer.
Yeah. It's a drag because I have the conversations with the Mossberg folks, and they're like, yeah, we can't do that in Canada yet. Yeah, we can't do that in Canada. Come on.
Like I can understand for someone like say like the black style firearms, but like what was really like you posted there, was it today or yesterday, like that beautiful Mossberg over and under. It's an over and under shotgun used for bird hunting, used for skeet trap. That's about it. Should be like non-question. in the Canuckistan it goes, right?
And it might be that easy, but it is just you're still importing
Right.
on the Canadian side or exporting on the US side. And,
Yeah.
you know, I think that well, at the end of the day, I have to applaud the decisions. Otherwise you do wind up, it's because it's not just Mossberg. It's all the stuff that's coming out of, you know, whatever, you know,
Yeah.
said Canuckistan, but there's an awful lot of, you know, Stan countries where, you know, firearms could be smuggled out of or stolen from military. And, you know, how do we know where a bunch of these are coming? So it's easy to poke holes in the regulations and some of the decisions, but at the end of the day, I do believe that most of them are beneficial. Some of them are really silly.
Head scratchers.
Yeah, like we suck. We suck.
Is it good
There's
news
been a
from
lot of-
the? Yes, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, there's been a lot of new gear released in the last week or so, right? Like AVNX put out their new, yeah, right.
Yeah.
There's that new
New
competitor,
blind.
new competitor with the Mojo. Like, got a lot of new
Um,
gear coming up, so it's getting exciting.
Browning has released a pile of new camo patterns for their shotguns, the Auto 5, or so the A5, not the Auto 5, the A5 and the Maxis. Today was the big drop for the Super Black Eagle Tree, as
Yeah.
Damien would say.
The
Tree.
SBEs, yeah.
In 20 gauge
Yeah.
for the 20 gauge aficionados.
They also dropped a new round. Browning did.
A new
Did they?
round.
Ian knew about that. There's a new round now.
Is it for ducks and geese?
Technically, no.
Could you?
Get it
Alright,
out here,
spit it out.
Junior.
All the conservation
Right out.
officers watching this, plug your ears.
Fuck.
No, it's a 6.8 Western.
Oh, I've seen some posts about that.
Essentially, it's a
There's
little
new-
bit shorter 270 WSM.
There's new rifle rounds coming out, Christ, every day.
Remember, things in the U.S. are business as usual right now. You know, there's still this is Canada is such a small market when it comes to most of the products that are being released. So AVNX, when they're doing their thing, you know, they're happy to see their products being used in Canada and exported, but the U.S. is its own market, and
Absolutely.
said everything business as usual down here. Some of there are some states that are asking you to quarantine, you know, when you get there, or you know, when you get back to your home state, you're being asked, but it's not being monitored or enforced or anything like that. So they're still going to have the you know, new launches and new product launches, and it's kind of nice to see it, to be honest. The new launches, not the ignore.
No, and you're right. It is good to see. It is good to see that the entire world hasn't shut down, and things are still. You say, I believe First Light is coming out with some new equipment, some new gear, which is going to look good. Sitka's has already launched a couple new things, and new, you know, they've got stuff on the go. AVNX with that new blind. I'd like to see a young fella strap it on his fucking back and carry it across the field. That'll be impressive. You know, but it's good. It's good to see that the world is continuing, and these products are coming out, and as waterfowlers, I guess hunters in general, but we've always been considered people that could adapt and jerry rig and fix this and make this work for your situation and whatever. And it just goes to show the innovation within the hunting, and I use the waterfowling world more specifically, but this whole, you know, another competitor in that robo-duck world. And I was reading the comments on the new AVNX one, and one person had a comment, and you know what? Some people may have skimmed over it and thought it was funny, but I'm actually wondering if it is a real concern. And his concern was, I'll pay whatever price you want me to pay for a robo-duck, that when I turn it off, the wings don't turn up white. And they actually go,
White side down.
Yep, white side down.
Those new avians
Huh.
are wings on both sides.
Are they? I could.
Yeah,
The
that
bottom ones, the bottom is white. It's
Oh,
just
is it?
Yeah.
it's just a different. There's a detail on it though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like, it's not just it's almost like it's two-dimensional, right? or three-dimensional. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the wing is three-dimensional now, so it gives it a little bit more structure when it's moving. But I do believe it's still white on the bottom, and
That's like a big Jedi mind fuck for Damien. For those who don't know,
what. What's that? 3D and 2D. Yeah, right over.
I love you, buddy.
But no, like seriously though, it is. But is that a concern? Like personally, I never turn my RoboDucks off. They go on and they stay on until the
They're-
fucking battery runs
It's because you
dead.
don't throw out goose decoys, so
Oh,
there's no point.
was it Lucky Duck that made weighted wings?
I don't know.
No.
I
Definitely
think it
not
was
on
Lucky-
mine. I have a Lucky Duck and it's not on mine.
No,
It
I've
would have
had
been like a limited run. I know there was one. Like it's either going to be Mojo or Lucky Duck, right? Because they're the only two companies. But I want to say I'm pretty sure it was Lucky Duck. They made weighted wings
Mhm.
where there was just like you look at it, it was almost like looked like a little puck
Oh
That was-
yeah, I do remember that.
was on the white side of the wing, so it
Yep.
caused those sides to be weighted down. So when
Yep.
you know if you
Gravity.
run them on an intermitted setting, like if you were doing the remotes
Fuck
or
me,
you run the
Phil.
remote and you hit off, it was supposed to counterbalance itself and stay white side down.
That's called
Which in
gravity.
theory is
I've seen those and they weren't heavy enough to do anything.
no,
but
you'd
then
have to
look
be
at,
running fucking tungsten in that.
but you look at the new stuff. I know it happened throughout the year, but the new Merch series that Dixie came out with, the new Shadow
Merch
series
can.
that Real Geese came out with, Dive Bomb, and this whole new gun case and bags and stuff which is remarkable, and whoever done the marketing for Dive Bomb is just got to be a genius, because I think those shotgun cases sold out in like a day. Like you couldn't even.
Now let's back the trolley up.
Okay.
In fairness, now this can't be proven, but it's a highly probable situation that there was a pile of merchandise that was sitting on the shelves from Duck's Back that may have been bought by someone else, rebranded, and then resold under their label.
Sure.
But in fairness, I've got like those gun cases. I've got the Duck's Back version of the like rubber gun case.
Yep.
And basically, yeah, Dive Bomb has their version of it. It's the same fucking gun case, whatever you want to say. But it's the
Well,
cat's ass.
You know what Phil just done? That's called a flex. That's Phil going like, you think you know shit? You don't.
Beaches that way, bitches.
I know shit. That's totally what that was.
Yeah.
I
But
got
those
the Ducks
gun
Back
cases,
case, and it
for-
holds my classic A5.
yeah.
Yeah.
But for those looking at gun cases, like obviously, like you have to go through Dive Bomb now to get one. But that rubber floating gun case is the cat's ass. If you are a waterfowler that primarily runs out of a boat, fucking buy one. Like I've got one. Anytime I'm out diver hunting stuff, I'm running out of my boat, I bring that gun case because one, it's waterproof and it floats. Like I got a couple other floating ones as well, but they're not waterproof.
I only
But
have
it is
one gun case
water-
because my wife will only let me buy one.
So I got a theory behind waterfowling gun cases, and this is learned through experience over the last 10, 12 years. If you cannot open that gun case right to the tip, it's useless to me. Because you're out hunting in the rain and the water and you jam a gun in there, the whole case is wet on the inside. So
To
the
the
one
tip.
I have, you can completely unzip right to the other end.
Yeah,
It's a floating
just-
case
Yeah, just the tip.
right to the tip.
Yeah.
And I can dry it out. Open it up like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. We're immature.
Some people grow up. Some just accumulate more toys and other cool shit.
Yeah.
Well, you were right. It was Lucky Duck that did come out with the weighted the weighted wings, so that they end white side down.
So now that's interesting. So now, so let's talk about avians. So avians come out They put out a couple more products. I did see something about avian. I can't remember what it is. I'll have to look it up for the next show, but it's something using the same type of material that they use on their decoys. You know, that really hard rubber that they can paint, and the paint sticks to it, and this whole thing. They're putting out another product this year, and I can't remember exactly what it is, but there's something using that same. I got to look into it. I'm being very vague in what I'm talking about here now, and I may have dreamt it on after taking a bunch of gummies one night, but we'll see.
Legal in Canada. Don't worry.
Yeah. Let me preface that by saying it's legal in Canada, and it helps me sleep. Fuck off! Don't judge me.
But we're judging.
Yeah, but we're judging. But no, so now Mojo, Lucky, and now Avian X. So this is a very, very small market, and a very niche market, I should say, that you're offering a product. There has to be something revolutionary for you to say, oh, I'm getting rid of the one I've got that's worked for me, because now I've got to get this new one. Wouldn't you think? Like, that's how I would think. Like, I've got a Lucky that works for me. It's worked for me for the past 3-4 years that I've had it. Would it not have to be something revolutionary? Because you know the thing is probably going to be $300 to buy. Like, would it not have to be something revolutionary now for you to take your old one and biff it?
And that's what I think we're dealing with that's different nowadays. Like, nowadays something comes out with a new paint job or a diver Lucky Duck, and people are like, oh man, that's a game changer. Well, no. A game changer is when that first Robo Duck came out, and people, you either had it or you didn't. And if you didn't have it, you wanted it. Nowadays it's like, well, shit, my wife bought me another Mojo for Christmas, and it's like, thanks honey, but I don't need 5 of them. Like, you know, it's, oh great, this one's a bluebill, I'm sure the mallard one will work too, right? Like,
Wish my wife would buy me a Mojo.
But having 5 of them doesn't hurt, does it?
No.
well, no, but like, you don't need them, right? Like, we don't need. There's not much changing.
Okay.
I know. Yeah.
Hey, you missed the whole conversation here. But there's nothing changing. We don't. It's not a game changer to get all this extra.
So look at who came out with the flapping goose. Who was it that done that?
Avery.
Lucky Duck has one.
Yeah, but there was
It
somebody that came out with one first, right?
Big Goose Flapper.
Yeah.
There was one that had a string.
Yeah, there was one that was on a jerk cord. And then somebody came out, and then Lucky came out with those. The one that Lucky had, the wings would actually fold in, right?
Oh.
The wings would.
What's that?
Well, they would flap.
Yeah, but they would
flap.
But when you turned it off, the wings would fold in as if like natural, right? But
yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, but there was one that the wings just stayed out and it just flat. Either way, what I'm getting at is that was, to play into what you're saying, Dave, that was a step where they went there. That's a game changer. I've made the goose wings flat. That makes it look like a goose. Now, did it work? I don't know. I've never ever used one. I've never ever hunted over one. But that's where this Robo Duck and a goose needs to go. It has to be something revolutionary now for me to take my Lucky Duck that's worked fine for me to go turf that, to go buy something else now. It has to be revolutionary. I already have enough. I already need to buy new Texas rigs. I do need to do some new floating decoys. And there's always the usual stuff that you've got to buy at the beginning of every season.
You know, it's sort of interesting with that, though. When things do get almost too revolutionary, there's always the possibility that laws are going to come into play that's going to say, you know what, that works too well. You're not allowed to do that anymore. And you're seeing that with the turkey Reaper fan. There's a whole slew of states that are jumping on board saying, okay, you can't do that anymore. You know, it's too effective. You know, and I could actually see that with some of these waterfowl spreads that are just so realistic and so effective that it's like, you know what, you're only allowed to do it in smaller spots, or it's I don't know, just a different side of it. But
like throwing out cobs of plastic corn, or like mustard bottles with like black lines on them, right?
I guess it's not bait.
Try
I did, and that goes, and that's another thing. Like I heard somewhere that it is against the law. So I've heard that old trick in the winter time. Take a blue tarp and just put it down over the snow to make it look like
Black.
or black, whatever. Put a tarp down. But there's somewhere in Canada where that's illegal. You can't do that for bird hunting. I can't remember which province it is, but it is illegal. Well,
Must be Quebec. They're just not right.
But it just goes to show, like, there are different rules, and just when you think you get it figured out, now I get them, well, then the government will come in and they'll change it, because if you're just annihilating these birds because of your setup, well, then if you're shooting too many, well, then they'll just put in a restriction, and maybe that's what it'll come to when it comes to these robo-ducks and things. Who knows?
You know what?
Interesting though, because limits are still there. So whether you get your limit in, an hour or 4 hours, what does it really matter? You're only shooting the same number of birds. That's why I don't understand some of the anti-reaping. Like, although they're potentially is a safety issue, but that's not it. It's just it's too effective. I want to be more sporting, but what difference does it make? You can only buy one tag. Who cares how you fill it?
Back to the original.
My buddy, that fucking turkey reaping. My buddy was hunting, and he was sitting in a blind with his kid, and there was a guy drove up. They saw the turkeys in the field, got out of their truck, went on his land. They didn't know the blind was there with the guy in it, and they were trying to reap a turkey because it was just a quick get out, reap the turkey, get your shot off, take it, and go, right? And he's sitting in the blind and just sees this like guy behind a thing crawling up, and it was
So back
choice
to
words
your
were said.
Back to the original thing there, Dave. Revolutionary to me in the motorized decoy world is durability, because none of them are durable. There's no durability to any of these motorized ducks. They're so easy to smash. You can't get them very wet.
Mm-hmm.
That would be, to me, if the all those three companies you mentioned want to do something revolutionary, make that thing bulletproof for a waterfowl.
Make one that you can shoot.
Well, that's a good point, because you know what?
There's
I treat the wings on my lucky duck better than I treat my shotgun. And that's not a joke. I take care of the wings for that lucky duck better than I do my shotgun.
Mine just get jammed in a decoy bit or my blind bag.
But that goes to like going back to the classic ways of just using a jerk rig. Puts the motion in the decoys, it works.
Yeah.
And you don't have the problems. You don't have to deal with batteries. And
it's like that guy here in Ontario there at the beginning of the season. He had all these videos. He had taken some floating mallard decoys and had made them remote control, right? So that they would fucking go around. And he done this at the beginning of the season. I don't know, let's say he was charging $300 for each one. And he would go on Ontario duck and goose hunters, and he'd post this video of the fucking duck in his bathtub. And everybody would say, hey, how's it look out in the spread? How's it do out in marshy water and this brackish, soupy loon shit? And the fucking guy would, next week I'll have videos of it out. And the next week he just showed this picture of this fucking duck in his bathtub again. Always. It was awesome. It was funny. I loved it.
I think the biggest game changer I've seen this year for myself personally doing all the kayak hunting was those lifetime decoys, with how lightweight they were.
Yeah.
And it's still a foam decoy, so when my kid shoots them, it's like, oh, well, it's foam decoy.
Yeah, but it is as nice as that foam decoy.
That's a pretty decoy, man. And they don't do divers, right? So I'm just I just have mallards.
Definitely an exciting time to be a waterfowler, and definitely a time where you definitely need deep pockets. That was a lot of definitelys in that sentence. You really do need deep pockets in order to have fun with this. And you see so many fellas on YouTube and on Facebook and on social media trying to figure out ways to get the job done, and God love them, because they're trying to be as innovative as they possibly can and make this work. And still, the amount of money and effort that we put in to chase these fucking things with a brain the size of a pea, and they still outthink us. And as the waterfowl season is shut down, we're now getting ready to shift into turkey, which
Oh, I can't wait.
like, come on, can you find anything else that is as smart or has the eyesight of a turkey? Like,
They say if turkeys could smell, they would be
unhuntable.
unhuntable.
You could not get them.
Never kill them.
Yeah,
really?
unhuntable.
Yeah.
Yeah, turkeys, like, so you'll see, like, shit, I just dropped my phone. Anyways, you'll see, like, in like a cut cornfield from the, the fall pass or whatever time it is, right? You'll see turkeys and deer out there together all the time. And that's because they have a symbiotic relationship. Turkeys can hear and see, like, it's next level. Like, yeah, turkey, like deer can hear, that's all fine dandy. But the hearing and the vision on a turkey is like, you can't even compare it to anything else. And then deer have that sense of smell. So they'll be out there harmoniously feeding on, kernels of shit and this and that. One catches wind of something or the sight of something, alerts the whole flock, the whole herd, whatever, poof, they be gone. I couldn't tell you how many times I've driven by fields I got permission to hunt on and stuff, and you'll see a pile of turkeys and a pile of deer. And like, they're legit amongst each other feeding. It's not like, the peas can't touch the carrots. No, like they're right in there, like rooting around once,
Yeah, they're within feet of each other.
Yeah.
I use a turkey decoy when I'm deer hunting as a yardage marker and a confidence decoy.
Good idea.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, no, it's great. It works great.
Yeah.
It works great. And, the started doing that before, using rangefinders and stuff like that. But mark it out. There's my 25-yard marker. And if there's a turkey that is calm and not anxious or upset, then it makes deer much more relaxed.
Like they're skittish as hell. Like skittish as hell.
Yeah.
And when we talk about like the advances in decoys and stuff, and there's guys around here who still use those foam decoys that you can roll right up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the other half of us are running these DSDs that, fuck, if you walk into the field and you look at it, you might think it's a real bird, right? Like, you got to look for the stakes on the damn things.
Yeah.
Or in the case of some of us, don't use decoys at all.
Right. Exactly.
Like I just actually finally bought some last year just to give it a whirl. Apparently, you can kill turkeys over these plastic ones. Who would have thunk it?
Well, that's always the comeback. We talk about how much money you can spend, how deep your pockets need to be, what new revolutionary products are going to be. People have been killing turkeys for 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
With just brown clothes and no
Yeah.
decoys. I guess there is an argument about the wariness and the learned knowledge of the species, but I mean, the fact remains, if do we actually need all that stuff? It's fun. We'll always buy more stuff.
Absolutely.
I think that
and we
particularly,
we are a generation or society that looks for instant gratification now too, right? So I get it that there's been for a lot of years fellas with brown clothes with no decoys and a single shot shotgun, but you know what I mean, that they did it, but they put the time into it. They weren't just, you know what I mean, they weren't going you know what I mean, they fucking hunted.
They weren't pressured birds either.
No, and those people hunted. They spent their time. They actually hunted. What I do is not hunting. I call it hunting, but it's really not when you think about it.
It's funny you say that. I still take out my cooey once in a while.
Turkey hunting?
Oh yeah.
But I mean, if you're not ringing it with your bare hands, are you really hunting?
No.
Like with a fucking femur, like shaved down, and then you get up behind it, you jab it in
Sharp
the
pointy
neck or
stick.
something like that.
You gotta be your own femur.
Punji pits.
So all the listeners
I think we
know,
need
like,
to bring back punji pits.
so all the listeners know, Mark is like, he loves cutting trees down, but he also likes to just put on the loincloth, climb the tree, and jump down at his prey.
Like
That
this
300-pound deer he got this year, fucking barehanded, boys.
316.
Yeah.
Actually, he rode it because he couldn't carry it out because he didn't have a quad or nothing. He rode it out to the roadside, then killed it with his bare hands.
To his truck. To his
To
truck.
his truck. Yeah.
That's
Arnold Schwarzenegger just snapped the neck, right?
That's why Mark is the only guy that can tell us that crossbows are unsportsmanlike, though.
Hey, double arrow crossbows. That's another topic, right? I'm not a crossbow guy.
Why didn't they go for 3?
You know what? There's 2 things to talk about here. Excalibur came out with that new one that has the over-under.
Yeah.
Right? But Raven came out with that 500 feet per second crossbow. Like now we're getting into,
That's fast.
is that legal? Like
Yardage
I
on
don't
that's
think-
probably what, 70 yards, 80 yards?
I don't know.
500 feet per second?
But what's the feet per second on a pellet gun that that it's not legal anymore?
495.
Yeah.
500 feet per second is the magic number
Yeah.
between firearm and not.
So is that new Raven a firearm? That's what I want to know.
Oh, that's an interesting conversation.
That is an interesting conversation.
I know in New York, you're only allowed to use certain, like I use both compound and crossbows, and different situations and different stands, different frankly different seasons. But in New York, you're limited by the foot pounds of pull to cock a crossbow. Like Excalibur's Assassin, you're not allowed to use in New York State.
Oh, was it 250?
I'd have to take a look at the regs. I want to say it's 280, but
280. Okay. Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure. It is I know, but every region know your regulations and know what the specs are on what you're buying for the area that you're going to use to hunt it. It's it's pretty wild. Guys, you know what? I do have a commitment. I got to run. I'm sorry.
Totally get it.
But you know what? I'm enjoying this so much. I'm thinking, okay, can I text my way out of this? But
can I push the envelope a little further?
You can always text your way out of it.
I'll tell you this. This is what I've learned on God's green earth is that we'll always be here. So you're more than welcome to come back anytime. Hanging out with us, Yahoos is probably not worth the argument that it's going to cost you.
No, you can do better.
But you know what, Dave, Phil, Mark, Damien, you know what, it is so good to get eyes on you guys and to just sit around and shoot the shit and have a couple of sips on a glass of wine while we're doing it. I miss it a lot, and you know what, hopefully we can do it before duck season opens up again.
Yeah, buddy.
Let's check in. Let's pre turkey season. Let's see what check in, see what everybody's doing. And
I think we need to come to New York and do an episode at the cottage.
Let's do a live one. I would love that. Yep. Turkey season opens May 1st. So we can get in the Ontario opener. We'll all come down, and then we just got to hang out somewhere fun. We can all quarantine together.
And we just need to find a bird.
Bear opener.
Yeah. Oh,
I don't shoot bears.
Nobody cares about bears.
Yeah, nobody cares about bears.
Hey, they cut us down to 1 week up here. So, fuck.
Wow.
The next time we do one of these shows, we got to include Ryan, because Ryan missed the last one with you, Ian.
Oh, and in fairness, Ryan, I said, Ryan, raising a glass, buddy.
Yeah. So raising a glass to Ryan.
I would pour one out for my homie, but this is good whiskey. I'm not doing that.
So the next time we do this,
was pretty bummed
you,
out that
Ian,
he was gonna miss.
we need Ryan on because he's disappointed that he missed this one with you.
Well, you know what? Let's. My schedule is pretty flexible, and one thing that is very predictable with COVID restrictions is where everybody's going to be on a Wednesday night. So, yeah, anytime, fellas. Really appreciate the invite. Good to see you again, and absolutely, let's talk about that turkey season in New York. Kevin's always welcome.
Awesome. Thanks, Ian, for
All right, fellas.
coming.
Hey,
Thank you so much for coming on, Dave, Mark, Phil. Instead of giving you all the last word, I'll let Ian just take off. But for everybody watching, Ian, you're good to go, buddy. Don't want to keep you any
thanks,
longer.
bud. Okay, good to see you, fellas.
Thanks, Ian.
All right,
See
bye
you,
now.
buddy.
So just just for our listeners,
Millions of viewers.
millions of viewers. Instead of keeping Ian on any longer, as we done our normal shutdown, I thought I'd let him go. So another good episode again, Dave. We keep bringing it up about surrounding ourselves with good people, and you don't get much more genuine than Ian McCleary. Just a good dude, smart, intelligent,
Articulate.
articulate. Hey, listen, Philly.
That's a big word.
You threw out harmoniously and symbiotic.
Symbiotic.
What
went
the
to
fuck ever you did? Yeah, that's what this episode has been brought to you.
Ironically, I went to college for fish and wildlife.
I went to college for forestry, and
I
ended up
clearly
joining
didn't-
the army.
I
I
didn't
went to
make
college for drinking.
I didn't make the
And
cut
now-
to become Mr.
now
Green
you're-
Jeans.
And now you no longer drink.
Taught me a little too well.
Yeah, no doubt. Anyways, another excellent episode. Around the horn. Mark.
Well, boys, that was a good chat with Ian. Excited Ryan couldn't make it, so that was too bad there, but we'll get him on next time. Friggin' good shooting shit with you.
Philly.
Every episode is a great episode.
I agree. Dave.
Good chatting, boys. See you next week.
Everybody, thank you so much for listening. We have some really cool guests coming up. I know I've been saying it. I just really don't want to say the names of people, and you know how the world is going right now, and then it looks like I'm eating crow when they don't show up. So
Plus, we need to leave our millions of listeners in suspense.
that
right.
is correct. But some good news is that we are planning some awesome work, and we're hoping to turn Damien's property into a duck paradise. So we've got some big work coming in the spring, and we'll be slinging chainsaws. So it's going to be fun, and it'll be documented. So you'll be right there to watch it with us. Anyways, everybody, thanks so much. Be good to one another. Big love. See you next week.